What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. I don't know why I got my headphones on. Actually, I do know why, but hey, I'm glad you tuned in to the show today because I want to talk about something that, come on. We know this is a big deal. I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why I see from a marketing perspective that streaming wins over cable. Like all day, there's 3 reasons, and I'm going to get to it in just a little bit. But I want to tell my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show today. I appreciate your support. If you like it, please rate, review, and subscribe, and add this on to your favorites. And for my worldwide listeners continuing to coming back, thank you for continuing to download the show, share it, like it, review it, and subscribe to it. So let's get into this without further ado, right? I wanted to talk about this because this is something on a larger scale that I think becomes really important of where we become consumers, and at time we forget to take off the producer hat. So I'm talking to potentially maybe entrepreneurs, even decision makers, even those that are just listening for the first time, and just wanted to hear why streaming wins over cable. Streaming wins over cable for several reasons, and I'm going to give you like the producer versus the consumer. And I'm going to give it as a marketing perspective because this is Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster. I'm excited to chop it up with you today. So for today's episode in 248, the 3 reasons why streaming wins over cable, I'm going to give you to a rapid fire. So for those that just want to know what it is and then jump off you go. You get it in less than 3 minutes. Number 1, it's more affordable, so it's easier to promote. I'm going to break that down here in a little bit. Number 2, less is more, so it's easier to convert. And then number 3, the quality of the show is more modern, it's younger, so it's easier to recruit. So as we use the 4 P's of marketing, promote is one of them. We don't talk about converting because of when the 4 P's were really created, you didn't have to worry about converting nor recruiting because the demand was already there. So when you look at this model of cable, when I start with more affordable, it has gotten astronomically high where it's now like you cut the cord. Cut the cord because there's... look, I'm not gonna lie. When I first got cable, when we all got cable, you had all these channels, but you could only watch one channel at a time. However, I almost said Redbox, but not Redbox. NFL Red Zone has made it to where you can watch multiples, or even YouTube, you can have multiple picture-in-picture PIP in there. However, more than likely, you only really want to watch one. So the multiple channels of where, or I should say not multiple channels, but the plentiful channels of where you have all these different shows, more than likely they're reruns. There are shows that you probably don't care about. And so this comes into like, really? Do I really need to afford that? And so this is where I get to the number 3. I'm going to jump to number 3, where the quality of show is modern, and it's modern and it's younger for the audience, because I think what we get into is this like, hey, I'm going to offer all these things because the avatar, the person paying for it, which we designed these cable channels for, we were looking to ensure that we appease the people paying for it. And we also said, to the mass marketing effect, everybody wants this. Well, now that we have these thingamajiggers, right, we don't care about this mass marketing approach. We don't care about, and I say we as in I'm acting like I'm one of the main people as a big dollar, meaning big corporations spending big dollars in tech, innovation, R&D, commercials, advertising. No, I'm not one of those people, but I can see they understand that they're learning how to serve a specific niche, a specific market. So this is where for you, when you start looking at your stuff, like think about it, like, and I don't want to go too deep into this because I want to keep this short and just coming back to what I was saying before and I'm just looking at my notes here. When I was talking about before, when I was looking at some of the things of like articles why streaming is more popular. A lot of folks are just not interested in watching things on a TV. People also want to watch things on a portable device because we're on the go, and sitting down on the couch and just watching something on the TV is no longer the thing to do. It's not as modern. And it's funny because you would think like, oh yeah, but that's just not it anymore. We can watch TV on here and just go like, oh, this is it. So let me jump to number one, because affordability is a big deal. And I remember paying more than close to $300 for my cable, my internet, my phone. I'm like, what? That's almost $4,000 a year when I can get a subscription for one for like $10. It's not. It has commercials in it. It has ads. But even when you do pay for it without ads, you still have ads. And then you have it all the way going up to $80, maybe $90, depending on the type of streaming service that you have. With local channels, no ads, all that great stuff. So when it comes to the affordability of it, a person that may not could afford cable and they lock you into those contracts. Streaming, you have no contract, so it's easier to promote. You cancel anytime. At one point in time, it was like a 14-day trial. You also have special promos that you can do where, like on Black Friday, they give like for 75% off for 3 months, and then you pay full price. You don't really have that with cable. They lock you in long term. Their promos have you in long term. And for a person that wants to stay on the go, stay nimble, stay lean, that's not how it works. So the two, less is more. This is something I talked about initially with the quality of the show, but they also have less shows. But in these less shows, these shows have great storytelling. You can tell it's been the time that it's taken for these streaming giants to have their own series took a little bit for it to happen. You see the only one that I don't see with the series, and probably by 2026, maybe even now I don't see it because I'm not on there a lot, is Prime, Amazon Prime. They're going to start having series. Hulu's has series, Netflix has series, ESPN has series. Guess who's next going to have series? Amazon Prime. They are buying up quite a big portfolio when it comes to their TV and not just TV, excuse me, their movie section. So I wanted you to think about this because on the marketing side, when you have to promote so much, you have to give a reason. The less is more, but that less is gonna be good. Like, you don't have to worry about like not having buyer's remorse, because when you get quality, it's easier to recruit the talent to produce the quality show to where it may not be a lot, but it's enough to keep you going. It's enough to keep that viral sensation or that FOMO of wanting to come back or leave them wanting more and say, hey, this is worth my subscription. And Apple Plus does a great job with that as well, of where they have movies, they have series, and they can connect you to. And Apple TV has been around forever, but they didn't have Apple Plus forever. Again, streaming wins over cable all day, every day. And it's because we all carry the device that allows us to choose. Do not get caught up where I see and hear so many entrepreneurs, freelancers say, well, I want it to be this way. You're not the customer. Remember that. Understand your customers have their own wants, and their wants are rooted, sometimes deeply rooted in a belief in how they believe things should be. So, with that being said, stop trying to serve yourself, serve your customer. And you see the streamings, they all have a bundle option, which is a good, better, best model out there where you have low, medium to high cost. But in that, there's less, more, and even more so that you can then choose, and that choice has the accessibility, the speed, the HD, multiple devices connected. So the more choices you give people, you know, even Costco provides more than one choice. Sometimes it's only two, but it's still a choice. Where give people what they want rather than giving people what you want them to have makes all the difference. And that's why I believe streaming wins over cable, because the streaming services providers, they understand people want what they want, and cable does not give that option. So with that, that's why you heard it. You didn't hear it first. You kind of already knew that, right? But on a marketing standpoint, right, you now know that when you create your strategy, when you create those social media posts or those blog posts or that newsletter, or you create that ad, or when you put out a blurb, or when you go and hold an event, it needs to be all about the people you are serving. Because if they buy something and they're not happy with it, obviously you got to give a return or a refund, but you may also leave them with a sour taste in their mouth. And that's what cable has done. And the streaming piece, which is why it's funny how even one cable has brought streaming, and another cable, it's crazy just to see the tracking of it. But this is where we are all evolving. Marketing is evolving. And lastly, I just want to come back to this conversion. Netflix got a lot of pushback when they said they're not going to do trials. You can't share passwords, and they had to convert. They had to grow more, especially out of the pandemic, and they continuously to crush it. Their business model is none like none other, right? And they continue to crush it. But Netflix also understands that their people are not the typical cable customer. So when you understand that you have to convert, you have to give the people what they want. So with that, if you need help figuring out this strategy, let me know. Netflix is a good model as a blueprint, and they tell you a lot of the way they made their decisions is based off of data. I forget the CEO's name. He was not the founder, but he worked real closely with the founder. And this is where data is so critical and essential to this part of your mission of making sure when you roll out a product or you have an existing product, you give your customer, your clientele, the people what they want. So with that, I wish you nothing but the best. Dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. Hey, if you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in this topic. And also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or social media networks. See you next week for the next